I was afraid to go out on the street because there would be people who would hit me. My major job is to raise these children into human beings. That's a job. That's a major job in itself. Secular Jews, they don't understand. They think we don't like them. They have their own version of Judaism. The internet is here to stay. We have to work with it. It's the opposite of insularity. It opens up the whole world to us in ways that we really don't want. Oh, people feel sorry for us.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, we're stuck in the dark ages, right?
Yeah.
If they would only know
I want to know.
how good it is.
Hello and welcome. My name is Frieda and I host a YouTube channel where I explore Hasidic Jewish life. Some of my most popular videos have been a series of videos with Pearl, Satmar Hasidic woman who took us into her home, who shared with us many of the customs about her son who left the fold, and so much more. I posted on my YouTube channel a request for you to ask your questions, and I'll be asking some of them to Pearl today. So thank you so much for agreeing to do this again.
So welcome.
What do you think of all the questions we got?
Very, very fascinating. Very fascinating questions. And let's see if we can answer them.
We got a lot. We're not going to be able to answer all of them.
Okay.
So I did want to say that a lot of the questions got answers on YouTube.
Right.
So maybe people can check out the thread, the original thread. There's a lot of really interesting conversation.
Yeah, you did tell me, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But then we're going to get to a number of questions which we've organized in categories. So the very first category is going to be on the subject of women and motherhood in Satmar Hasidism. The first question that someone asked is, are women looked down in Judaism? Are they considered less than men?
It's such an interesting question. Let me ask you, Frieda, what's the holiest place in Judaism?
The synagogue?
No.
The home?
The home, the Jewish home. The holiest place in Judaism is the Jewish home. And who's at the center of the Jewish home?
The mother, the
The
woman.
mother. The mother, because her role, every morning we say in our morning prayers, Al titish Torah semecha, do not forget the Torah of your mother. So the mother is the one who is imparting the words of the Torah to her children, and she has such an important role in raising God-fearing, moral, in turning this child into a human being that is a completed human being, a human being that has higher values, that has, and she's doing this first by modeling this.
By modeling.
In the home, modeling this behavior, and together with her husband, obviously, but she's the center of the home. So really, there's no way, the word looked down upon doesn't even exist in our imagination, in our lexicon. And then, which society has a husband coming home from synagogue every Friday night, a husband and the menfolk, the boys, the children that come home from shul, and sings an ode to this woman,
Aishas, which means woman of value.
a woman of value, but the whole song is about this woman. So which society sings an ode to a woman every single week? Which society has, as part of the marriage contract, which we have the Kasiba.
The Kasiba is the Jewish marriage contract that outlines the rights and responsibilities of the groom in relation to the bride. To emphasize how important this document is in Jewish tradition, it is read aloud at the wedding ceremony in front of all the guests. Which is the marriage contract?
It is the marriage contract, and it has to be signed by two witnesses who are not related to either the bride or the groom. And the marriage contract lists only the obligations of the husband to the wife. What he has to do, what he has to give her, including conjugal rights. Which society has that? So you call this a woman that's looked down upon? I think this is a woman that's put on a pedestal. You can't be put on a higher pedestal than this.
Okay, let me ask you a related question we got on the same subject. Since you are a very learned woman, someone asked, since
I'm
you,
not such a learned woman. I'm a housewife, for heaven's sake. I am not a learned woman.
okay, since you have so much insight, let's put it this way. Someone is asking what your perspective is on women in leadership positions, for instance, officiating ceremonies.
Let me answer it like this. What does the Torah say about it? It's not what I think about it. It's nothing to do with what I think.
Torah or Torah here is used in the broad sense that Orthodox Jews use the term to include both the written and oral law. The written law is the entire Hebrew Bible, and the oral law is the corpus of laws passed down orally. Oral law is considered part of God's revelation to Moses at Mount Sinai. Additionally, rabbinic commentaries on the interpretation of both oral and written law are also considered part of sacred oral tradition, so they are also part of the Torah. And so the word Torah, in the way that Pearl uses it, refers to the entire body of Jewish laws and customs. It refers to all the books in the bookcase behind her, not just to the contents of the Torah scrolls.
I like to say, I think what the Torah wants me to think. What does the Torah say about it? The Torah has roles for women and roles for men. The roles for men are the ones who do the ceremonial things. We do the other things. We do other things, but not. And like I said last time, we don't envy each other's roles. We're happy with the roles that we have.
There are, though, instances where women take on leadership positions, right? There are.
Like what? Like being a principal in a girls' school?
Yeah.
So?
Does that make you feel like there's more, maybe equality? Is that something, a source of pride for you, that women can, in their sphere, take on leadership positions?
If the Torah says it's okay, I'm fine. I mean, no argument. What's the argument? Be a leadership. Wherever we're allowed to be leaders, wherever we can have leadership positions, perfectly okay. But we don't want the leadership positions that men have. And they don't want what we have. We stay each in our own camps.
What do you think when the New York Times will tell a story of a woman from the Hasidic community who achieved leadership positions as a celebration of this community? For instance, I remember a story of a woman who has a lot of children, maybe 8 children, maybe 12 children, and is a doctor.
Yeah, well, it's doable for some people, but for the general majority of people, it's not something that's doable. And if she finds satisfaction in that field and she can do both, kudos to her. And she's not going to have too many imitators, because the ones who have the right way of thinking are going to think is my major job, my major position is to raise these children into human beings that are trustworthy, that's a job. That's a major job in itself. I am happy that I am in this position where I can turn those children into that kind of people.
Yeah.
In other words, my satisfaction lies with the job that I'm supposed to be doing.
Which is raising children.
Raising Jewish children to be respectable people, respected people.
Okay. Do Hasidic women celebrate Mother's Day? We posted the video asking people for questions on Mother's Day, so we got quite a few people asking if you and Hasidic women celebrate Mother's Day.
Every day.
Every day.
And we don't only celebrate Mother's Day every day, we celebrate Father's Day every day. We celebrate Grandparents' Day every day. Older Sister Day every day, Older Brother Day every day. This is an everyday thing. We're sometimes so mad when we hear about Mother's Day. Is that when you remember that you have a mother? I mean, for the secular public, every day is Mother's Day. Every day is Father's Day. So it's like, don't you understand that yourself? It's not relegated to a day. It's all the time.
It's a way to make money by making one day.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe it's commercialized, you know.
Yeah, it's a financial scheme. Would you say respect for the elders is more prevalent in this world than in the secular world?
It's more prevalent in any world that understands the Ten Commandments. Let's put it this way. Any world, any society that has something to do with the Ten Commandments, it's going to be more prevalent.
Because it's so central.
Yeah.
On that note, but related. What happens if a woman can't have children? She can't be a mother. She can't raise all these children, which seems to be so central. What happens in the community to a woman like that?
We're very big on assisted reproduction. Very big on it.
All sorts of assisted reproduction
No,
are okay?
no. The rabbis looked into this, and they came up with certain assisted reproduction that's permissible, and certain ones that are not. We have organizations that help couples who can't afford it, go through the procedure with help from these organizations, and people contribute to this.
Like meaning, or people will give money to the charity to help people help women who can't get pregnant,
Right.
to fund their
Right.
IVF treatments
Exactly.
and so on.
Exactly.
Is there not a philosophy of God made you struggle with getting pregnant, so your role in life is to not have children?
Therefore, God showed us that He sent an organization for us. God is in charge of the organization too.
I see.
Hashem gave the chokhmah to, like for instance, IVF. IVF came out about maybe 35 years ago. And what a blessing it was that Hashem gave the knowledge to to doctors to how to assist this kind of reproduction.
There are people who see maybe the marvels of science as at odds with religious belief.
So,
Do you get what I'm saying?
So I want to tell you that science, in the end, is going to prove religious beliefs. It's a scientific fact that you cannot destroy matter. And it's a scientific fact that you cannot create matter. So whatever God created, you cannot uncreate. And whatever Hashem did not create, you can't create. But if you really want scientific proof, it could prove religion.
I see. Science can be used to prove religion.
Yes, it could.
If she can't have children or vice versa, and one half of the couple is able to have children, would they generally get divorced?
The obligation in the Torah is for a man to have children. It's not upon a woman. The obligation is upon a man. So a man, this could only happen after 10 years. If the man needs to fulfill that obligation, and he is able and he wants to divorce the woman, that's what happens. He will divorce the woman so that he can fulfill the mitzvah with another woman. But sometimes couples can't do that because they are so connected that they simply can't do that. So, they stay like that.
Even though one of them could potentially have children, especially the man. He doesn't
Only a
have to. He doesn't have to get divorced. If he loves
He doesn't have to get divorced. He's encouraged to get divorced, and the Torah accepts such a divorce. The Torah accepts
the grounds are valid.
the grounds are valid for a divorce, but he doesn't have to.
We were talking about infertility. Could it be that there are women who don't want to have children, don't want to be mothers? That's not what they want to spend their lives doing.
I personally don't know a single solitary person like that.
No?
I can't even imagine it.
Maybe they don't want to say it because there's social pressure, stigma.
I wouldn't know, but I can't imagine it. It's across every society, women want to have children. Every single society in the world, except maybe in modern society, people decide not to have children for whatever reason. I have the greatest rachmunas on them.
You pity them.
I pity them because they don't know what they're missing. They don't know what they're missing. The joy that a child brings into your life is unimaginable unless you actually experience it.
A lot of people love children, are involved with children, are in some role very intimately involved in the lives of children without themselves being mothers, and who think
No
children
comparison.
There's
no comparison. No comparison.
Okay, the next question is a little different, also on the subject of women, but not on family, on head shaving. We talked about head shaving in the other video, and people are absolutely enamored and quite unsatisfied with where we left the conversation. One of the questions I have here, someone asked how long your hair is now. That's how the question came in. But in general, we got a lot of questions about why the head shaving, why covering the head then with fake hair.
So really, we're supposed to cover our heads, not with a wig, but with a kerchief. That's preferred. But not everybody can do that because they miss their hair. Okay, so wear a wig. It's not a substitute for hair exactly, but it's a substitute for going with completely just a kerchief.
Would you say, someone asked, isn't it strange? This person was saying, I don't mean to be critical, but isn't it strange that you should cover your head with fake hair? You might as well just not cover your head and wear your hair.
It is strange. That's
is
right,
strange?
it is strange. It is strange, and it's a little bit of phoniness on our part because really we're supposed to have covered with nothing. No hair, but just with a nice kerchief. But not everybody can do it. Okay, so the rabbis agreed, wear a wig.
It's a loophole, sort of.
Yeah.
What about the head shaving? You still want to talk about the head shaving? Because I feel like we really didn't put that discussion to rest. People are so bothered. Every time I open YouTube, I see comments where people say, why in the world would women shave off their
Who's
crowning
bothered?
glory?
Who's bothered?
Strangers on the internet, you know how it is.
Fine, strangers don't grow up like the way we grow up. Of course they're bothered. Let them keep their hair. But we who grow up knowing that a woman shaves her hair, they see their mothers, they see their aunts, they see their older siblings. It's not a question. It's not a big deal.
What would you say to people saying men are just once again telling women
By
what
the
to
way,
do?
just a minute. Our men shave their hair too.
I see. They have
Somebody
beautiful
said something.
locks.
There's somebody, so we have a beautiful shaitel. The men shave their hair too and wear a head covering. Okay? It's not like the men decided, you women, they don't have long hair either. They don't have the kind of hair that they could also have. Or that sometimes you remember in the 60s and 70s, all the men were wearing long hair. Even today, I see them in ponytails. I see them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So go ahead. So what were you saying?
No,
That
I'm
men
saying-
decide.
Yeah, men
for
decide.
women.
Yeah, men tell women you have to shave your head, and women, women are once again.
The
The
Torah
losing
is set up
side.
in such a way that the rabbis are the ones who tell us, who explain what the Torah wants from us. And yes, we are a male-oriented society. No apologies. We have alpha males.
Really?
The males are all alphas. Yes, we are a society that is divided along male and female, and the male is alpha. We look up to males. We look up to rabbis. We look up to fathers. We look up to teachers. We look up to, male teachers. We do. But just like there's a king and a queen, they don't have the same rules.
But the queen is second?
Yes.
That doesn't bother you?
I told you, I'm very happy with that role. No, because this is, look, our Creator created us and knows what's best for us. Okay? He knows that for society to function properly, for a home to function properly, there is the head of the household and the next, it's like the king and the queen. The mother is looked up to also. But the mother, with the children, look up to the father. And that's the healthiest, psychologically, the healthiest for a home. Now, I know that there are women that say, no, we're even, we do the same thing, there's no such division, no, we're even. You could be even, you could try, try it, do it. But really, you'll be happiest if you have your husband to look up to. All these big women, these big knacker women, who want to be even, I've never heard one of them say that they don't want their husband to protect them, or that they don't want their husband to look out for them. It's in the nature of a woman that she wants to look up to her husband. They can fight their nature. They can say we're even. They could say he's even less than me. I'm more. You know. It's not to the benefit of humankind.
As an aside to that, this is the second time we do a video and you use the word knacker and you leave me in a bind because it is really hard to translate the word knacker. How do we
A
say
big
knacker?
macher. How do you say a big
A
macher?
big macher is a big doer.
A big, yeah, big.
A big doer.
A
Someone
big,
who's-
big shot. You know.
Big shot. A big shot. The word knacker is literally to knock, right? Someone who makes a lot of noise.
I don't know. Don't, let's
We're
not.
not working on Yiddish. Okay. Then I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on to the category on insularity.
Okay.
I have quite a few questions people wanted to know. And the very first question someone asked, I don't know who they are, might be me, about your opinion about the internet. Is it okay? Is it not okay?
Well, you know, do you know the definition of insularity?
It's to close yourself off.
So, the internet is here to stay. We have to work with it. It's a fact of life. You can't do business today without it almost. It's a fact of life, and it's a very scary thing to us because it's the opposite of insularity. It opens up the whole world to us in ways that we really don't want. So we have things that help us. We put filters on our internet. So it protects us. It gives us some insularity so that we can stay protected from outside society.
What is the fear from outside society? What is? Can you articulate why it's important?
It's not a fear. It's not a fear. It's our mandate. It's first of all, our mandate is to be a nation apart. Hashem wants the Jews to be a nation apart. There's so many things that we can't do that society does. It sort of forces us to be a nation apart, even if we would like to be part of the nations, you know?
I see.
The Shabbos that we have, the nations do not have Shabbos. It forces us to be, to be apart. All the mitzvahs that we have, it's not for the other nations. The nations of the world have not 7 mitzvahs.
7 mitzvahs b'nai noach.
Yeah, Sheva mitzvahs b'nai noach. They have 7 mitzvahs. The world has 7 mitzvahs that they have to keep. We have 613. Okay, today we don't have 613 because we don't have the Beis HaMikdash anymore, and a lot of those mitzvahs pertain to the Beis HaMikdash, and we're in Gulas. But really, a Jew has 613 versus 7. So Hashem wants us to be a nation apart. And he gave us a goal in life. He gave us a mission.
Which is to keep his 613.
Our mission is to teach the world that there is a God who created the world, who runs the world, who is in charge of the world, who is, in every instant, there's God all over. It's not like just, that's why I don't think Judaism is a religion.
Then what is it?
It's a way of life. It's not like we are Jews and we have a religion called Judaism. It affects every minute of our life.
Every aspect of life is...
Every aspect and every minute is affected by being Jews and being shomer Torah mitzvahs. Everything. The way we tie our shoes, the way we get up in the morning. There isn't a time that we are not interacting with our so-called religion. We're being Jews, but we don't have a religion. We are Jews.
So okay. On that note, people were asking a lot if you are allowed to have friends outside of the Hasidic community.
So nowhere does it tell us do not have friends outside of the. You talk about Hasidim now or Jewish?
Outside of the people who live a very different way of life.
It doesn't explicitly tell us that. In other words, if I had a friend that was a Christian, it wouldn't be a sin on my part.
I see.
It wouldn't be a sin. But I'm not going to look for it. Insularity means exactly that, being insular.
We talk all the time. We talk maybe once a week, right?
Hopefully twice.
Is that a problem for your insularity? Because I'm not religious. I can.
Are you kidding? What are you talking about? You're a Yid. How could you say that? How could you say that?
I see. Because there are a
You
lot
know,
of...
it's interesting. I told you, secular Jews, they don't understand. They think we don't like them.
They do think that.
They think we don't like them. They don't understand how pained we are to see them the way they are.
Maybe that's...
And if I ever meet anybody and they tell me that they're a Jew, I have instant love for that person. You know, but they don't understand it.
A lot of secular Jews feel like Hasidim don't consider them Jewish, and that Hasidim
It's not that
don't like
you
them.
can't consider them not Jewish if they're Jews.
Yeah.
You know,
If they're, by your definition, anyone whose mother is Jewish is Jewish.
it's not my definition. It's the Torah's definition. The Torah says if your mother, all secular Jews today had in the 3-4 generations Shomer Torah mitzvah Jews, as they are descendants from Shomer Torah mitzvah Jews.
Yeah.
You know, everybody who says I'm a Jew, even if he's secular, is descendant for about 3-4 generations back. Their grandparents were Shomer Torah mitzvah Jews.
What if they don't want you to feel sorry for them, though?
They can't tell me what to feel. I know they don't want me to feel sorry for them.
What if they find it condescending? What if they get hurt
I'm
by
not
that?
going to tell them.
You're not going to tell them.
I'm not going to tell them.
Okay.
I'm just going to feel
In your heart.
A Jew. It's like an instant. Like I met my long lost sister or brother. You know.
I see what you're saying. On the note of walls, are you allowed to read secular books?
Do I read secular books today? Yes. I read every single book on the Holocaust that anybody has ever written, and my goal is to read every single one of them. So I do.
What about a young girl today? What kind of stories, novels, fables would she be exposed to?
Go into any Orthodox Jewish bookstore and you'll have enough to keep you throughout your teenage years. Excuse me. Enough to satisfy you all your teenage years.
To keep you reading?
And every single subject. Novels.
Not
true
romance,
stories. No. Absolutely not.
No.
No.
Why not?
Because the boy-girl relationship is not we don't. It's not talked about. Not talked about, not read about until you're getting ready for marriage, and then we talk about it. Then it's predicated on marriage.
On the setup match.
Yeah.
Not the arranged match. I didn't say the arranged match. I after reviewing the footage, it clicked in my head. Arranged in heaven.
No, arranged in heaven, but set up by parents.
But set up by parents.
Everything is set up in heaven. Everything except the moral choices.
Does that give you greater calmness in life to believe everything is set up in heaven?
You can't imagine. You can't imagine. It's like a different world. And it's amazing. I talk to not only people my age, I talk to younger people, because of all the Yiddish publications, the Jewish publications that come out in English that keep reinforcing this idea. You talk to young women. Everybody knows Hashem runs the world in the most minutest, greatest detail. So, even though we want, let's say, people have a right to want. It's okay. It's okay to want. It doesn't work out. This was what Hashem wanted for me. Wow. So everybody is like living in a world where, yes, we want certain things, we hope for certain things, we dream of certain things. But we know that it's only dependent on what Hashem really wants. Luckily, we have a Hashem who's very good to us. Okay, and He created the world so that He could give. That was the purpose of the creation, so that He could give to us. So we get so much from Him that it's mind-boggling. But you have to train the mind to understand that every breath that you take, that every swallow, that every thing that your eye sees is a gift from Hashem. That everything that in other words, we are constantly getting good things.
It's not just when you get a big, nice thing.
No, it's not just when you win the lottery.
I see.
It's just when you wake up in the morning and your eyes open and you stand up on your 2 feet. And that's what we say. We're supposed to say this. The minute our eyes open, we say, Moida'ani. You know, we say, thank you, Hashem, for giving us back our souls.
After we slept.
After we slept, which is 1/60th of death, sleep, 1/60th of death. And now we got our souls back, so we thank Hashem for in other words, a Jew is constantly supposed to say thank you. If he doesn't say it verbally, he has to have it in mind. The word Yehida, Jude, comes from Yehida. It means to thank Hashem. That's why Leah named her 4th son Yehida, because when she had the 4th son,
she was grateful.
She was very grateful. So Judaism requires us to be grateful. And you know, it makes a person so happy.
Yeah.
If you think that you're grateful for everything, for the way your body works, for the food that we get, for the light, for the beautiful houses that we have, for the flush toilets that we have, for the tiled bathrooms, it keeps you in a constant state of happiness. I never had anything but indoor plumbing, but I'm so sometimes, I think about it. I think, imagine people not having indoor plumbing, they would have outhouses. Yeah. Imagine how lucky we are to have this beautiful indoor plumbing that we have.
Yeah.
We're richer than kings were once upon a time.
Yeah, in terms of comforts in life.
You know? So this is the shoidish of the word Jew. Yehida.
To be grateful. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing to be grateful, but you know, it's very hard because if you have 100 things to be grateful for and one thing that bothers you, then that can be so overpowering over everything else.
Depends how you train your mind.
Someone said, as a child growing up, did you ever fear the large secular world outside your Hasidic community? Were you sheltered growing up as to antisemitism, or were you aware at a young age?
You better believe I was aware. When I was growing up in the 1950s in Williamsburg, and I was young, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I was afraid to go out on the street because there would be people who would hit me. Kids who would hit me, beat me up.
Wow. It's so safe now. I mean, the children play outside without...
Yeah, but don't forget, this was the 1950s, so there was a lot of racism. The blacks were very looked down upon. The Jews were looked down upon.
Do you ever worry nowadays while walking the streets that you'll get attacked as a Jewish woman?
No.
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 Do the children worry, you think?
No.
No.
We live in sort of a ghetto. Yeah. We hardly have none. The children are not exposed to non-Jewish children.
Yeah.
It's really, really very, it's a ghetto of our own making.
It does happen in Williamsburg too. The men are walking to shul on Friday night and someone runs up to them and attacks them unprovoked.
I'll tell you something. I don't think it's antisemitism.
No?
No, I think it's just juvenile delinquents. But it's not necessarily out of a certain conviction.
Towards hatred towards
Jews.
No. Okay, I have another question. Does your family go on excursions? For instance, would you go to the beach? Would you leave the community to go to museums, historical sites?
We wouldn't go to the beach because of the nudity. I mean, not actual nudity, but what we consider nudity. The mixture of men and women, we would never go to the beach. That's a big no-no. Will we go to historical sites? We do go. Yes. We go to any local historical sites. There's a big draw. We'll go to like interesting, we go a lot to New Hampshire because of the beauty of the place, the natural beauty. Well, people go to Niagara Falls. People go to Lake George, which is closer to us. We'll go to the local parks that we have here.
Museums.
Museums is a little iffy. There's a lot of talk about things that happened 35 million years ago.
Which contradicts.
Which the Torah says it only happened 5,700 something years ago. So you can't take a child and say, this happened 7 million years ago. When we tell our children, the Torah says that the world was created 5,700, I don't even know exactly, 5,700 something years ago.
Yeah.
That clashes with our beliefs. So we don't take our children to something that clashes with our beliefs.
I see.
Right?
So I remember we would go school trips to Liberty Science Center,
Yeah.
which would be, it wouldn't have exhibits of Neanderthals. It would have gravity.
Yeah, right. Science, more like science.
Yeah, science, but contemporary technology science.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, we do. We get around.
Do you like to travel?
Do I like to travel? I'm fascinated by museums. I love museums. I love natural wonders. Mamish, it's like getting oxygen,
Yeah.
To see the wonders of Hashem.
Of the world.
Fascinating. Nature. Do I like to travel? No, I don't like to travel.
You and me are home buddies?
I'm homebody. I like to stick to base.
Me too.
Thank you so much for watching this Q&A segment with Pearl. This is not all there is. Check back for another video where we'll be asking and answering many more of your questions. In the meantime, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Pearl, who so graciously opened up and shared with me, with all of you, with this channel, her wisdom, her insight, her heartfelt faith. It has been so meaningful to me. It has been such a joy, and I've really appreciated all of you being open to listening and sharing your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you around. Bye-bye.